And the top story that we are tracking at this hour is about a privacy breach in Chennai, where data is the new oil and lots of it seems to be seeping out from Chennai, thanks to the Greater Chennai Corporation, which has reportedly engaged a private firm to collect biometric data of citizens with neither a formal contract nor any means to safeguard it. An investigation has revealed that biometric data such as fingerprints and retina scans of citizens belonging to economically weaker sections in Chennai is being collected by an agency named Impact. Now, the technology, as per the company's managing director, data of 25,000 people is stored in its back server, and the data has been collected from potential beneficiaries of the resettlement and rehabilitation scheme of the Tamil Nadu Urban Habitat Development Board. As per sources, there is no framework for data collection. There are no rules and regulations as to how the data should be collected and stored. When questioned about this, one of the deputy commissioners from Chennai Corporation told Mirror Now that they have asked for a brief explanation from zonal officials regarding biometric data collection as to what was the process followed and who all were involved. We spoke to residents of Chennai's Kannapar Thidal who said their fingerprints and retina scans were taken tens of times. Let's take a listen.
எடுத்துருக்குறாங்கம்மா இன்னும் ஒரு ரிசல்ட் கூட தெரியல இன்னும் இடம் வந்து எடுத்துட்டு தான் போறாங்க எங்களுக்கு ஒரு ரிசல்ட்டும் தெரியல நாங்கள் சிஎம் கூட பார்த்தோம் எங்களுக்கு வீடே இன்னும் தரல கொஞ்சம் பேருக்கு தான் கொடுத்தாங்க இன்னும் எங்களுக்கு கொஞ்சம் பேருக்கு கொடுக்கல நாங்கள் வந்து நிறைய இடத்துல இருந்துட்டு லாஸ்ட்ல இங்கே வந்து 30 வருஷம் ஆகுது சொல்ல மாட்டேன்றாங்க கவர்மெண்ட் எடுக்க சொல்றாங்க நாங்கள் எடுக்கிறோம் அப்படின்றாங்க இங்கே வந்து எப்படியும் வந்து ஒரு இங்கே வந்து 30 வருஷம் ஆயிடுச்சு 50-60 வாட்டி வந்து எடுத்துட்டாங்க CM வந்து 4 வாட்டி போய் மனு அங்கேயும் கொடுத்துட்டோம்.
Shabir Ahmed, who is a reporter from the News Minute, is joining us right now. Appreciate you joining us here, Shabir Ahmed, on this very, very important story that we are tracking at this hour here at Mirror Now. There has been a breach of privacy. There has been biometrics that are being given illegally without the information and knowledge and the consent of the people at large. And the state government, can they feign ignorance about it? Did it not have it in their knowledge? Were these companies not in touch with the state government that they presently feel that there is no need to even come up with a statement regarding it? Well, we were trying to get in touch with a reporter from News Minute, Shabir Ahmed. Well, what we are bringing to you is shocking, ladies and gentlemen, where there seems to be the biometrics of people from Chennai belonging to the economically weaker section of society who seems to be the beneficiary of the government's scheme. And it is the Impact technology that has collected data without the knowledge and consent of these people at large. I'm also joined by my colleague Dharani to get us more details. Dharani, how are people in the government in Tamil Nadu responding to this expose where biometrics have been collected, which is a breach of privacy? Was it there in their knowledge? Did they consent to it? Because now they cannot feign ignorance when Impact technology collects data and biometrics of beneficiaries of the resettlement and rehabilitation scheme of Tamil Nadu Urban Habitat Development Board.
Well, when we tried talking to one of the deputy commissioners from Chennai Corporation, they told us that, the corporation headquarters is not aware of a private agency being used to collect these biometric data, and that they've asked for a brief explanation from zonal officials as to, what was the process that was followed while collecting this biometric data, and, who were the people who were involved in this task. So the corporation has asked for a brief explanation, and only after that, getting that explanation, they'll be able to decide what to do further. That is the reaction that we are getting from Chennai Corporation officially at this point in time. So this is Kannapar Thidal where I am standing right now. So when we tried talking to the people of Kannapar Thidal, they also confirmed us that in September 2022, a group of people from Impact Technologies, they have come here and they had collected sensitive information such as fingerprints, retinal scans, and photographs of hundreds of these people. And when these people asked those officials as to why the biometric data is being collected, they did not give a proper reason. The only reason they told was that the corporation has asked them to do so and the government has asked them to do so. They did not give a proper reason as to how these fingerprints and retinal scans and photographs are going to be used by them and what is the purpose of this data collection. That was never unfolded, that was never told to these people. So without even giving them any reasons, hundreds of these people's data have been collected by that private agency. And we're also learning that there is no proper contract in place between the Chennai Corporation and Impact Technologies to collect these
Absolutely,
biometric
Dharani.
data.
There seems
So
to
in
be
the
no
absence
proper
of
contract in place.
of course,
And thank you for getting us all those details. But I'm also joined by Shabir Ahmed of the News Minute. Appreciate you joining us here. A very good afternoon to you. And we are tracking a very important story over here where there seems to be a breach of privacy, where biometrics and data have been collected of citizens belonging to economically weaker sections in Chennai without their consent and knowledge by one agency called the Impact Technology. Can the Tamil Nadu government feign ignorance about this entire process being taking place? Was it not in their knowledge at all that Impact Technology was doing that?
Well, this is absolutely shocking. When we started investigating this case, we found out that there was no, contract or formal contract between the Chennai Corporation and Impact Technologies, a private agency that has been time and again engaged by the Chennai Corporation to collect biometric data of people living in slums and, people who are living alongside the Adayar River, Kuam River. There are several encroachments, and the Tamil Nadu government has been thinking about resettling all these people who are living in these areas. So the process that is being followed is, carrying out biometric enumeration of the people who are living in all these encroached areas. So this is something that they have been following for a very long time. According to information that is available with the Chennai Corporation officials, they say that they have been doing this process since 2011, and only once they had, they had an engagement, a formal engagement with this private agency called Impact Technologies, and after that, Impact Technologies have been given a free hand, and it's been engaged by the Chennai Corporation to collect biometric data. And to the extent of at least 25,000 biometric data, biometric data of at least 25,000 people is lying with a private agency. And the Chennai Corporation says that they don't have any access to that particular data. And even the Urban Habitat Board also only receives a list and a report. So they also don't have the access to the server. So it's only being handled by a private agency. Now here is the question of breach of privacy, violation of tender rules and transparency rules. It's clear negligence on part of the Chennai Corporation to engage a private player to collect biometric data, which is sensitive in nature. And it's being handled by a private agency without any contract. That is something which is absolutely shocking here, because there has to be terms and conditions. There has to be certain regulations that the private agency is bounded by. But in this case, the private agency has been hired without a contract and engaged in collecting biometric data. And according to experts, they say that if a biometric data has been collected for a selective purpose, after the purpose is over, it has to be deleted. But in this case, it appears that the private agency has not deleted or destroyed the data that he has collected over the years. This has been happening without a contract for almost more than 7 to 8 years, which is absolutely unacceptable. And there is no proper explanation from the Chennai Corporation as to why this agency was engaged without a formal contract, though they say that once he was engaged on on an emergency basis, but that was in 2015. And after 2015, Impact Technologies has been time and again collecting biometric data of people who are homeless, who are poor, and absolutely this seems to be a clear case of negligence.
Well, I appreciate you joining us, Shabir Ahmed, with all those very, very crucial details. About 25,000 people's data has been given off, or they have taken it away from the server without any safeguards from the government's end. And joining me right now are our guests, Anirban Banerjee, who's a political analyst, Madhavan Narayan, who is a senior journalist, and Mithun Vijay Kumar, who's also a political analyst. Appreciate you all joining us, taking out time this afternoon. But we are discussing a very, very important subject over here, sir. There has been a breach of privacy and, in a sense, a data theft, if we can term it to be. But let me take that question across to you first, Mr. Anirban Banerjee, who's a political analyst. Mr. Banerjee, 25,000 people's data, their biometrics, their photographs, without their consent, without their knowledge, impact technology just takes it. How are they going to use it? Can the state government feign ignorance about it, that it wasn't in the... Can the state government of Tamil Nadu do that?
No, prima facie, the state government cannot feign ignorance, or they cannot say that it's not our responsibility. But I have gone through the report of the News Minute, and I also heard the concerned journalist say all the details. It appears that this is at best a slip on the part of the authorities. This is not really any, if I might use the legal word, mens rea involved, any criminal intent from the side of the government involved. There could be a breach in terms of, say, lack of proper understanding as to what this company was doing, or maybe that the contract was over. The authorities might have missed that part. This can be no way compared to proper data breach in its truest sense, because we have seen regarding the Aadhaar card, especially, this is 25,000 people that we're speaking about here, right? Regarding Aadhaar card, it's almost a what can I say, almost 100 crores maybe in our country who have already have their Aadhaar details enrolled. And the data breach, or the risk of data breach regarding Aadhaar card, that is monumental. And the government at the union level has not yet come up with a proper data privacy act. We have seen what the big
Mr.
data
Anirban
companies have
Banerjee,
done.
the data leak of Aadhaar cannot be the basis on which you can justify this sort of a data leak that has taken place in Tamil Nadu. Two wrongs never make a right, sir. Let me take that question across to Madhavan Narayan, who's also a senior journalist joining us. Mr. Narayan, how do you see the data of 25,000 people essentially belonging to the economically weaker section of society? Their data, they do not know why were the pictures taken, their retina scan, their biometrics. How is this data going to be used, misused, where it's going to be placed at? Can the Tamil Nadu state government really absolve itself of taking any responsibility in this regards?
I would advise you not to get excited or outraged about this. Let me be very clear. Journalists are we are supposed to be calm and composed in analyzing these things before this is a very complicated issue. There are three issues involved here. It's fashionable to get exercised about privacy issues, especially, but this is not the United States of America or Europe. We are India. The other thing is that, as Anirban rightly pointed out, the data privacy laws are still in the making. So what law has been violated is a matter of conjecture and general guess. We cannot simply go about that. The third point I read through the News Minute stories, and I found there are three angles to this. One is the absence of tendering, which has got nothing to do with data. It could be even for a water pipe. Therefore, that could be a fault of the municipal corporation of Chennai. The other thing, state government and corporation need not necessarily have a reporting arrangement. Corporations do not report to state government. So we cannot suddenly throw a grenade at the state government and say, look, you are responsible. There are lines of command. You need to establish what is the line of command and who is to be held accountable. The other point I want to bring out is that this agency, Impact Technologies, has already been engaged under the Jawaharlal Nehru Rural Urban Mission, according to the News Minute story itself, to authenticate identities of Aadhaar cards already. So it's not a completely unauthorized agency, but this particular act of engaging for this slum or Kannaparthidal or whatever, wherever needs examination. As I see it, there's a lack of transparency as well as a classic case of technology and its use getting ahead of the regulation. This is not surprising for anyone who watches technology.
Okay.
When cable TV came to India, India was being governed under the 1885 Act called the Telegraph Act. So all the first lot of cable TVs that came to India were actually illegal technically because the law was 1885. So in this case, the law has not been properly framed. We don't
But
know
sir,
what are the...
these are human beings we are talking about, and I
No,
beg to
please
differ, not
understand.
cable TV, sir.
No,
This is a
please
matter of grave
understand.
concern. And let me
They,
take that question across to my other
hang
guests
on, let
also,
me
sir. We will
finish.
have to give time to
Just
all our guests to speak.
you can
Let me
justify
go
anything.
across to Mr. Mithun Vijay Kumar, who
If
is
you
a
don't let me
political
finish, it
analyst.
doesn't make sense
Mr.
to me at
Vijay
all.
Kumar, Mr. Narayan was making a statement over there saying that, this is not US, and so we should not get that excited about this entire data breach. But there is a breach. Now, whether at all the contracts had the due or the prerequisite that they had the clearance or not, and if Impact Technology was hired in the past as well for the data collection, this is a trusted agency or not, that's a separate matter. But the fact remains 25,000 people belonging to economically weaker section of society, their retina scans and their biometrics have been, of course, taken by this particular organization without their knowledge and consent. The question that we are asking over here is that there has been no clarification that has been put forward by the Tamil Nadu government, whether at all the due protocols were followed and what is this data going to be used for. They are the beneficiaries of the resettlement and rehabilitation scheme of the Tamil Nadu Urban Habitat Development Board.
Yes. See, unfortunately, even in a case like this, we have two narratives. One that supports DMK and that is trying to justify that, okay, the tender process was not followed. That's a different case altogether. And data privacy is not even a concern at all because we don't have any law in place is what the argument is. But if you see, the Chennai Corporation doesn't even have full access to the data of the citizens collected by this private company. And the worst part is there is no formal agreement between the company and Chennai Corporation. And even the tender process was not followed for entrusting this work to the company, which is actually a breach of Tenders Act and Tenders Rule. Now, how can you say that, okay, we don't have to, take this issue seriously, or we don't have the data norms here, and that's why it's okay to, for any private company to come and collect the data of people. We have seen such incidents in the past as well, where, Kerala government collected data of people in quarantine without following any norms using a US company called Sprinkler. Later, when the court stepped in, they had to request the company to destroy the data collected. So, data is very crucial nowadays. And even in one of the interviews related to this Makkal ID, in an interview to your own channel, I heard a DMK spokesperson say that, data is the new oil and they are focusing on it. So one can suspect that the data collection process is not just for providing benefits of social welfare schemes in Tamil Nadu, but there's a larger plan because these data with such high levels of data points can be used for various purposes. So at this point, we need to understand what steps will the Chennai Corporation take to destroy the data collected illegally by Impact Technologies, and will the Tamil Nadu government order an inquiry into this? And if the government doesn't act, then High Court must take moto cognizance of this issue and initiate proceedings against all the parties involved.
Let me take the question back to Mr. Anirban Banerjee, who still continues to be with us. Mr. Banerjee, do you think this is only an error and it shouldn't be given the due traction that we are talking about over here right now, that this doesn't concern that sort of, highlighting that we are doing over here about a data breach? Do you think it's only an error, or is there more than what meets the eye, is what it appears, that the DMK government seems to be on a back foot, and that's the reason why they haven't even stepped forward to issue a statement of any sorts?
No, I would say that any issue concerning the citizen safety in any manner deserves this traction. There's no objection regarding that you're highlighting this story. But at best, I do think that this is nothing more than an error. Because as I said, if you want to ask me whether there's any mens rea involved, that is criminal intent from the side of the government or the authorities to misuse this data, I don't think there is any. Because as I said, technically, whether this data has been misused or not, or whether it will be misused or not in the future, is very hard to discern, because in the absence of any proper data privacy law, it's very difficult to say whether somebody is even breaking the law or not, because the law is not there. That's number one. Number two, regarding the tenders or the process, etc., yes, the authorities must correct their faults. They are at fault. There's no denying that fact. But linking it with the state government and accusing them of misusing or probability of misusing in the future this data, that is a bit too far-fetched,
Okay.
because we have seen in the past, not very long ago even, that the parliament was going aloft regarding the Pegasus software issues. So regarding privacy and all, we have seen what the union government has done, what their stance is,
Yes.
and the DMK being
No, of course, there
opposed to the
should be a
BJP, whether
well-defined
they are being
law,
targeted or
either
not, that
at
is
the
also a
central
question of
level
politics.
or, for that matter, the government has to be a lot more vigilant. And we here at Mirror Now is going to be following the story very, very carefully, unless the state government comes up with a clarification. I appreciate you joining us, Anirban Banerjee and Mithun Vijay Kumar, for joining us and taking our time to discuss this very important subject, which we will be keeping a close watch on.